Well, here we are, day 2 in San Francisco. After my sob story from the other day, I thought I'll give you an update what's going on today. So, having dropped off my daughter at the boarding school, I had to entertain myself. And the very first time I was in San Francisco was in 2015, 10 years ago. And we did some photo tours, running through the city, taking photos of all the landmarks, and had a jolly good time. And back then I had some free time, so I was also roaming the streets. And I wanted to see how bad certain areas really are, Tenderloin being one of them. It was pretty bad 10 years ago. Last time I was here was, I think, about 5 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And it was better, but it was still pretty crass. And on my journey, the very first time, I walked past a greenish kind of door that said Hyde Street Studios. It's a famous recording studio where Santana, Herbie Hancock, even Kanye West recorded albums. And I kind of stored it in the back, and I thought, you know, one day I will knock on that door. So today was that day. Wonderful to be here.
Great to have you here.
I've had the dream of sitting in front of a Neve for a very long time. As you know, I'm an SSL guy. In my last video, for those people, for the crazy ones that have actually watched this, I put out that analog sounds better than digital. I still believe that.
Yeah. I think I run into a lot of people with a sort of a fundamental misunderstanding of what parts of the process are analog and what parts of the process are digital. You know, I mean, there's the analog versus digital debate, meaning do we record to Pro Tools or do we record to tape?
The good old machine.
Yes. And that's, you know, that is sort of one conversation. And then the other conversation is, you know, do you use a console or do you just use an interface or something? But as you know, even using an interface, there's plenty of analog things going on. Yep. I mean, you're still using a microphone, there's still a preamp in there. Yeah. You know, so it's not, for me, I feel like, you know, putting aside the tape argument, it's not about analog versus digital, but how much analog. A lot of old analog gear just ages differently, and you can certainly say that about our microphones. You know, you could put our U67 or U47 up against all sorts of other studios, you know, of the same era, and they're all going to sound a little different. And the same thing goes for, you know, like LA2A compressors or 1176s or something. They've all got a little different feel to them after, you know, just decades and decades of use.
So when you do a session, or one of your engineers does a session, how do you pick what you're gonna use? Is that an emotional thing, or do you have your go-to gear?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is a bit of an emotional process. You know, I think it's about knowing the room really helps. You know, it's really nice for the engineers that get to work in here often to experience this gear and be able to have some favorite pieces and things. I know for me, you know, I really love our John Hardy mic preamps, which we custom racked. Those came from, they were originally part of a console that was an AMEC console that was housed at Sunset Sound, and John Hardy designed some custom preamps for it. Nice. Came out of that console, and then now they're here. So beautiful. But those are really, they're a really hi-fi op-amp design in those preamps. I really love those.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, it's these Neve compressors, the 2254s. I love those on like piano or rhythm guitar, something that carries throughout a song, you know, kind of your bedrock rhythmic kind of chordal piece.
Yeah.
Those are perfect for that sort of thing.
I call it personality.
Yeah, I think what's fun about this era of studio too is that, you know, I've seen a lot of studios in earlier in the 60s or 50s, studios were so much bigger. They were built for the big band or the orchestra or something. And you can certainly make good records in there, but I like this era of studio that was built for the pop rock band. You know, it's just that perfect kind of medium-sized space where you can do a lot.
Less intimidating.
Less intimidating too, yeah. Yeah, more comfortable, more homey. We love the local music scene here. It's a pretty strong local music scene here. All genres too. So one of the things that's great about this studio is the engineers really like it, I really like it, that we'll be doing, you know, hip hop one day and pop music that's all electronic based the next day, and then country band, and then a metal band, and you know, it's just all across the board, all genres. And that's because of the history goes that broad too. You know, everyone from Tupac to Train to, you know, to those San Francisco sound bands like Grateful Dead and Santana and things.
Yeah. Just to also explain, I know some of you will watch this and you will know everything about everything, and others are just really confused about all these knobs. So I will create another video, most probably, where I go a little bit over what went where, which this will A, bore him, and B, be over time. What a lot of people think is confusing, they see an analog desk like this, but there's still a good amount of digital behind. Because even though you use the preamps, you use the EQs for their sound, but it still ends up in Pro Tools.
Yep, 90% of the time, unless we're, you know, and even when we use the tape machine, a lot of projects nowadays, they'll, even if they want to use tape, they'll record to tape, and then we'll dump that into digital, and then, you know, do extra things in Pro Tools and, you know, on the computer.
I could see myself record for hours and hours and hours in there because it has the band room, rehearsal room feeling. Yeah. Not to forget, he's not just the manager of the place and an engineer, he's also a musician. So it's the brain is not just frequencies, but also melodies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You play bass?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to, it's funny, it's when I get in here to work on my own music here, it's hard to turn off that studio manager and engineer, you know, switch sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, halfway through recording something, and I'm like, oh, that mic stand is like a little wonky. I need to take that and fix it. You know, like
instead of staying on the slap.
Yeah. It's hard to juggle those two worlds, I guess. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful thing, because if a musician comes in here, you understand what they need, because you're one yourself.
Yeah. That's and that's a through line that I see with I think most all of the engineers that work out of our studio are, you know, musicians as well. So it's nice for people to know both sides of the glass, so to speak. An interesting line to walk, I feel like, for the engineers too, is you know, you certainly want to be working quickly and feeling like, you know, have the artists feel like they're getting a lot done, you know, and making the most of the time. But you definitely want people to be comfortable and creative. You know, if people are stressed, you know, that's a terrible way to get good results. So it's one of the funniest things when I see when you know, the rare occasions we have like a film production here. The film production world is so like high stress and time crunched that like when a big film crew comes in, it's such a stark contrast from working on anything audio related in the studio. You know, they're all just like stressed out like crazy, and it's a palpable difference from, you know,
it's a lot of money on the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, but it's you know, here we're always trying to make people feel like, you know, comfortable and creative.
There's something special about the real thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I would say this gets used at probably at least half of the mixes, you know, at some point on some instrument or something, you know. There's the U67.
Yes, the baby.
This is one of my favorite mics we have, actually. I just think it's a particularly good sounding 67.
This thing is as old as I am. It's such an iconic piece, and it changed the recording industry.
Yeah.
And then there was the 87.
Yeah, in the 87, we actually have two versions of that, but the 87 replaced the tube in the 67 with transistor circuitry.
Beautiful. And you got two of those?
Yeah, we recently got the another 87. This is the newer AI version, and we got a black.
With all the goodness that you have in here, what's your favorite?
Oh, it changes all the time. You know, it's hard to beat the C12s. I really love our C12s. This is an AKG mic made in Austria. And just a beautiful sounding microphone. The capsule in these is what they started using after this in the AKG 414. And it's just a legendary lineage that this mic started.
Well, there you go. That was my little trip to this green door that 10 years ago I thought I should knock. And you know what? If you want to get access to these sort of places, it sometimes seems unachievable or unobtainable or whatever the word is. But the truth is, sometimes just picking up the phone and asking, it opens doors. So that's it for today. There's more to come in the days to follow. And in the meantime, pick up that phone or send that email or come up with the plan that something that you would like to do. And who knows? You already got a no, but if you ask, you might get a yes. All right, with that, I'll leave it to it. Go out and create something awesome.